Welcome back to my inner sanctum. I am your hostess, Countess Elizabeth, mistress of the macabre, and today is Valentine's Day. How lovely to spend it in my inner sanctum with you, my fiends. Today, I feel like exploring the poetry of a handsome man, Edgar Allen Poe. His most famous works are about the lost longings of love on this Valentine's Day. This video is dedicated to my love. You know who you are. So let us explore the lost longing that is Edgar Allan Poe's work as we explore our grotesque curiosity. Anabel Lee. It was many years ago, in a kingdom by the sea, that a maiden lived there whom you may know by the name of Anabel Lee. And this maiden, she lived with no other thought than to love and to be loved by me. She was a child, and I was a child, in the kingdom by the sea. But we loved with a love that was more than love. I and my Anabel Lee, with a love that the winged seraphs of heaven coveted her and me. And this was the reason that long ago, in this kingdom by the sea, a wind blew out of a cloud by night, chilling my Anabel Lee, so that her high-born kinsman came and bore her away from me to shut her up in a sepulchre in this kingdom by the sea. The angels, not half so happy in heaven, went envying her and me. Yes, that was the reason, as all the men know, in this kingdom by the sea, that the wind came out of a cloud, chilling and killing my Anabel Lee. The next poem I'll be doing is quite famous. The Raven. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over a many quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as if some gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this, and nothing more. Ah, distinctly I remember, it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I had to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow, sorrow for my lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whose angel's name Lenore, nameless here forevermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before. So this and now, still beating my heart as I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door, some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. It is, and nothing more." Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitant then no longer. "Sir," said I, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore, but the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I opened the door, darkness there, and nothing more." Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. And the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token, and only the word there spoken was whispered, the word, "Lenore?" This I whispered, and an echo murmured back at the word, "Lenore." Merely this and nothing more. Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning, soon again I heard a tapping, somewhat louder than before. "Surely," said I, "surely that is something at my window lattice. Let me see then what threat is, and this mystery implore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind and nothing more." Open here I flung the shutter. Then, when many a flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately raven of saintly days of yore. Not the least obsessence made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with a mien lord or lady perched above my chamber door, perched above a bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing more. Then this ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore. Though the crest be shorn and shaven, thou, I said, art sure no craven, ghastly grim, the ancient raven, wandering from nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night of Plutonian shore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Much I marveled at this ungainly fowl, to hear its discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevance it bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing the bird above his chamber door. Bird or beast upon the sculpted bust above his chamber door, with such a name as Nevermore. But the raven, sitting lonely on the placid bust, spoke only that one word of the soul. In that one word he did outpour. Nothing further than he uttered, not a feather. Then he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, Other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before. Then the bird said, Nevermore. Startled at the stillness broken by reply so aptly spoken, Doubtless, said I, what it utters is only stock of store, caught from some unhappy master, whom an unmerciful disaster followed fast and followed faster, till his songs one burden bore, till the dirges of his hope that melancholy burden bore, of that nevermore. But the raven still beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of bird and bust and door. Then upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking fancy unto fancy, thinking what this ominous bird of yore, what grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt, and ominous bird of yore meant in croaking Nevermore. This I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing to the fowl whose fiery eyes burned into my bosom's core. To this and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining on this cushioned velvet lining that the lamplight gloated o'er, but whose velvet violet lining in the lamplight glowing o'er, she shall pass, nevermore. Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer, swung by seraphim, whose footfall tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, God hath lent thee these angels, he has sent thee respite, and nepenthe from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff, this kind nymph, and forget this lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, whether tempter sent or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate yet all undaunted, of this deserted land enchanted, on this home by horrors haunted. Tell me truly, I implore, is there a balm of Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, by that heaven bend above us, by that God we both adore, tell this soul with sorrow laden, within the distant Aden, it shall clasp a sainted maiden, whose angel's name Lenore. Clasp a rare and radiant maiden, whose angel's name Lenore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Be that word our sign parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked, upstarting, get thee back into the tempest and the night of Plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that lie soul hath spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken, quit the bust above my door. Take thy breath out from thy heart, and take that form off of my door. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. And the raven still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door, and his eyes have all seeing that of a demon that is dreaming, and a lamp light over him streaming throws his shadow on the floor, and my soul from out of shadow he's floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore. The last poem is called A Valentine. For her these lines are penned, whose luminous eyes, brightly expressive as the twins of Lorda, shall find her own sweet name, that, nesting, lies upon the page, enwrapped from every reader. Search narrowly this rhyme which holds a treasure, a divine, a talisman, an amulet, that must be worn at heart. Search well the measure, the words, letters themselves. Do not forget the trivialist point, or you may lose your labor, and there is no Gordian knot, which one might not undo without a saber. If one could merely understand the plot, enwritten upon this page where you are peering, such eager eyes, there lies, I say, Purdue, a well-known name, oft uttering in its peering, of poets, by poets. The name is a poet's too. Its letters, although naturally lying, like the night Pinto, Mendez Fernandino, still form a synonym of truth. Cease trying. You will not read the riddle. You do the best you can do. Well, those were truly some grotesque tales. Thank you if you stuck with me, or even read along as I read his works. These are my favorites, and hopefully you like them too. I try to read with conviction so as to not disrespect the tone of his works. But as you can tell, some of the references might be dated. May Edgar Allen's troubled soul rest in peace from its life of torment. Thank you for watching the video. Like, subscribe, and share if you would also like to keep exploring our grotesque curiosity. We will meet again in the darkness of the night.